Good evening. Time being 7 o'clock, I call the April 6, 2022 meeting of the Franklin Town Council to order.
Recording in progress.
That's a good thing. Please pause for a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Announcements from the chair. All citizens are now welcome to attend public board and committee meetings in person. Additionally, in an effort to maximize citizen engagement opportunities, you will be able to continue to participate remotely via phone or Zoom using the provided phone number, or you may click the Zoom link that is on the posted agenda and on the town's website. Phone number is 929-205-6099, and enter the meeting ID, which is 879-8758-4971. The attached link and phone number will be active for the duration of the meeting for citizens to ask questions and/or voice concerns. If residents are just interested in watching the meeting, it will also be live streamed by Franklin TV and shown on Comcast Channel 11 and Verizon Channel 29. Councilor Pellegrini will be unable to attend tonight's meeting. And the last announcement I have, I'm going to ask the fire chief if he would come forward. And I'd like to share this announcement through the chair's announcement.
Thank you.
With the
Thank
fire
you, Mr.
chief.
Chairman, members of the council, if it's okay with you, I'd like to first introduce Mr. Joe Pasco. He's a regional manager with ISO. For him to come up and say a few words, and I'd like to follow, if I could, just to give some thank yous to people who deserve that are here tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. My name is Joe Pasco. I'm the Northeast Regional Manager for ISO. We are the leading provider of insurance data to the insurance company. 92% of the large insurance companies use our data, our public protection classification. We rate over 45,000 fire jurisdictions in the United States on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. Out of those 45,000, there are currently 458 Class 1 fire departments. So I'm here today to congratulate the fire department, the water department, the 911 center, and the building department of Franklin for being our 459th public protection Class 1. We don't tell the insurance companies how to use our information, but we estimate that it's usually a savings of 7 to 15% for insurance premiums per class. So in Class 1 is a very difficult classification to get, so congratulations to you all.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Mr. Chairman, we thank Joe for being here. He actually drove here from Syracuse to be with here tonight with us tonight, so we really appreciate you being here.
It's a big deal to us too, so
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, members of the council, my role here tonight is to thank a lot of people who worked very hard at this effort. This was a true collaboration. No one person could do this, and we had a lot of help. From the fire department standpoint, I do want to start off with my administrative team, both deputies, Glitch Barberi, Captain Blanchard, and our executive assistant, Tracy Hosford, both before, during, and after a site visit on August 27th is when they were here. They did a lot of work, and I really, really appreciate all the effort that they did make. July of 2020, We remember that's when we had our promotional ceremony, right at the beginning of COVID out on the front ramp. For me, that was the game changer. That's when we implemented a reorganization of the Franklin Fire Department. And what was significant to that was that's when we had our first ever battalion chiefs. And 21 months later, I can tell you, namely Chief Allen, Chief Carlucci, Chief Darling, Chief Sims, they've done an amazing job. They go out every day in the morning, they go throughout the town, they do inspections. They each have specific collateral duties that they're all responsible for. And ironically, or unfortunately, I would say, since mid-June, July of 20 and all of 21, we've had some significant fire incidents here in town. They all performed great. They did a great job having good command presence, and they've created a more efficient operation for our fire department, and they did it in a safer manner. But if you had asked me what specifically took us to this next rating of 1, what really did it was training. And our Battalion Chief Carlucci, who I have to name, is our training officer. And we couldn't have picked a better guy to be that training officer. It felt like times around here, we were doing more training than the FDNY at times around here. He just did a phenomenal job, Chief Carlucci, and, but he'll tell you, it's not about setting up a training schedule and just checking off boxes. What really made this work was the buy-in from the rank and file of this department, every single one of them. Last spring, we had 2 separate vendors come here and conduct trainings that we were able to bring in because we have an AFG grant to absorb that cost. Both of them, at separate times and separate months, came up to me at the end of the 2-week training. One was for rapid intervention training, and one was for pump operator training. Both of them came into my office and said, we would like to come back. So that department is made up of respectful, attentive firefighters who truly want to be better. So for any fire chief, there isn't a better compliment I can tell you to get that. And I really can't express enough how proud I am of these firefighters. I'm really glad to be affiliated. I'd like to give them a hand.
Yeah.
Of IFF Local 2637, currently being led by Brian Hammond, formerly led by Chuck Allen. When the leadership of the union and the leadership of the administration have a cordial, respectful relationship with the same common goal of being a better department, which we do, the sky is the limit. And tonight I think that's an example of the great relationship we have, and we're going to have continuing in the days ahead. I also want to give credit to our SAFE team, led by our SAFE officer, Doug Perro. As you folks know, there's been a lot of public outreach in our community with the kids, with the elderly, and they do a great job. And that does factor into part of the score here. And I also want to mention, now really need to mention, is the water department. 40% of this score is the water department. So I asked the DPW director, with his leadership team from the water department, Doug Martin, Jake Stanley, and the rest of the team. So important for them to be here. They were so supportive of us. We have a great relationship with them, and they did a lot of work. There was 36 specific sites in town that had to have recent flow tests. There was a lot of information that they had to get. Doug was right there with us the day of the audit. They had to provide a lot more information after that. We have a great relationship with them. They do a phenomenal job. They're out doing flushing hydrants just this week. And I cannot say enough about the water department here. It's such an integral part of fire protection for this town. They've done a phenomenal job. So Doug, Jake, Brutus, thank you very much. I do want to also quickly give a shout out to Mike D'Angelo. Communications is part of this as well. As you know, we've had some issues in certain sections of the town. Mike has done a phenomenal job at the Ford Hill location. Keller Sullivan. Our radio transmissions are better in that area, which is so important for us in public safety, and it's going to be even better in the future. He's not done with that radio project now. So it's just another example of how all the different departments in the town of Franklin work together, and all good stuff that's happening here tonight. I do have to mention our state delegation, Senate President Spilka, Senator Roush, and our good friend Representative Roy. Big advocates for the Franklin Fire Department, very supportive. When we were, backs were against the wall when we were getting out of civil service, We wanted to start our reorganization. There was a lot going on in July of 2020. They had our back, and they made that helped make that happen. Whenever I've had important issues for the Fire Chiefs Association of Massachusetts, FCAM, they always take my call if there's something important to our organization for support. But probably even more important than that, they come to our events. They come to our open houses. They come to our swearing-ins. They come to our retirement parties. Either them or someone from their staff always makes an effort to be there, so we really appreciate that. So thank you. We appreciate it. I gotta thank the boss. I gotta give credit to the town administrator, Jamie, and his staff. A huge proponent of public safety, as you all know, as well as you. I remember when I was going up to his office to talk about the 2 new fire trucks in the middle of a pandemic, I said to myself, this is gonna be a quick meeting, I might not have to take my coat off. But he actually listened, and he wanted to know all the pros and cons of doing this. And once he listened to me, he gave the green light to bring it forward in front of this council. And I don't know how many town administrators would do that in the middle of a pandemic. So Jamie, thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge the finance, the FinCom committee, led by Chairman Dowd and Vice Chair Conley, another committee that's extremely supportive of the Franklin Fire Department. In fact, the chairman and the vice chairman don't just, are just concerned with the financial situation of the fire department. They pretty much keep tabs on us every minute of every day. If something is not quite right, they're not afraid to give me a call and keep me on top of my game. So we thank them as well. But last but certainly not least, it's the Franklin Town Council. I do want to include in my remarks former Councilman Kelly and late Councilman Bisante. You're the group, you're the important council that approved a reorganization. You approved adding battalion chiefs to the job. You approved 2 new trucks. You approved 4 new firefighters. All things that cost money. And not only did we not get the support of this town council, we got unanimous support from the town council. So on behalf of the Franklin Fire Department, I just want to say we are extremely grateful for all the support you've given this fire department, certainly since I've been here. And we do not take it for granted, and we can't thank you enough. We appreciate it. And finally, Mr. Chair, I just would like to acknowledge a colleague of mine, a good friend of mine, the chief of the Foxborough Fire Department is here today, Mike Kelleher. Chief Kelleher? What's he, the back row? You want to come up, Chief Kelleher? You don't want to come up, but
Where is he?
so Chief Kelleher is here, and so we're the ninth fire department to get an ISO 1 in the state of Massachusetts, 15th in New England, and now we're the 459th in the country. But the Foxborough Fire Department got their ISO 1 designation in December of 2020. And the reason why I know that so well is because Chief Kelleher has reminded me each and every day he's an ISO 1 department. They were the first suburban fire department to get that, and the first fire-based EMS department to get that, which means the top 7 in the state of Massachusetts are urban fire departments, and they do not provide patient transport to the hospitals. So they do hold that distinction of being #1 for suburban and for fire-based EMS. But Mr. Chairman, I am extremely proud to tell you tonight that the Franklin Fire Department is the first suburban fire department in Massachusetts and the first fire-based EMS department in Massachusetts to put an ISO 1 decal on a traditional red truck. Because for anybody that's not familiar with the Foxborough Fire Department, all of their apparatus is white, which I would think is going to be somewhat confusing for the young kids in Foxborough. But we will hold that distinction of putting on a traditional truck and the color is red.
Thank you, Chief. Representative Roy, are you exiting?
See that door?
You're out the door. Okay, thank you. Just a couple of short comments. Again, I think the chief and Joe as well, what's involved in getting that and the percentage of different things? It's 50% of it being the quality of your local fire department, 40% being the availability of water supply, 10% being communications. These are all things that this council, this administrative team has worked very hard on the last few years to get the regional communication center going, upgrading our water supply, and as well as reorganizing the fire department. And I also think it's important, if you look at the percentages and just roughly look at it, 0.7% are ISO 1.
Yep. That's remarkable.
And that's just a remarkable accomplishment. And I would say that there's probably not one of those fire departments that have the sticker already on the red fire truck that says ISO 1. So congratulations,
Yes, congratulations.
everyone. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Citizens' comments. Citizens are welcome to express their views for up to 3 minutes on a matter that is not on the agenda. The council will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised during citizens' comments. The town council will give remarks appropriate consideration and may ask the town administrator to review the matter. Is there anyone in the council chambers that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Please come forward. And if you would just state your name and address, please.
So my name is Anurag Kaveshwar. I live at 710 Pond Street, and I'm a student at Franklin High School and the president of the student government. And so the issue I'm bringing up today is students' lack of ability to effectively crowdfund for events at the Franklin High School. This is a result of the rules in place to stop more accessible and convenient methods of online payment, for example, Venmo. And so the problem is that when we're not allowed to use these more accessible and convenient methods, it would increase apathy towards events that students would otherwise be more interested in if they were able to pay more conveniently. And this decreases the amount of money students are able to fundraise at the Franklin High School, and which is why we need to be able to use more accessible and convenient softwares so we can fundraise more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? How about, is there anyone out in Zoom land that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? I don't see anyone. Do you, Alicia? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on. We have no minutes to approve this evening, no proclamations or recognitions. Appointments. We do have a couple of appointments, and I'd ask the fire chief to come forward.
Mr. Chairman, tonight we're proud to introduce the two newest firefighter paramedics with the Franklin Fire Department. The two, I asked them to step forward, firefighter paramedic James Cook and firefighter paramedic Michael Eaton.
Right over there.
Face down.
Face them, so that way you'll be on camera. There you
Face
go.
the bosses.
Face the
guys.
bosses.
I think you face the
He
chief.
ain't your boss yet.
You can step forward. Okay, so James is here tonight with his wife Taylor and daughters Tegan and McKenna. James earned his EMT in 2007 and began his emergency services career working for various municipal and private services in the home state of Connecticut. James worked his way through college at the University of Connecticut, earning a Bachelor's of Science degree in biology in 2012. He completed paramedic school at Bridgeport Hospital in 2014 and met his wife while working in the city of Bridgeport. After moving with her to Massachusetts, James began his fire service career in 2017 with the Sharon Fire Department. He has taken numerous fire training classes and has completed certification in Rope Rescue and Fire Officer 1, with plans to continue training in technical rescue. He holds instructor certificates in ACLS and BLS. His badge will be pinned on by his wife Taylor tonight after he gets the oath from the city clerk.
Ask you to raise your right hand and repeat after me, okay? I, James Cook, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute the duties
to faithfully execute
as firefighter
as
for the town of Franklin
for the town of Franklin
with respect,
with respect,
integrity,
integrity,
and excellence,
and excellence,
and to uphold the mission of the department,
and to uphold the mission of the department,
the Constitution,
the Constitution,
statutes, and regulations of the United States of America,
statutes, and regulations of the United States of America,
and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the charter and bylaws
and the charter and bylaws
of the town of Franklin.
of the town of Franklin.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
A lot of paramedics in the room if you hit blood.
Or a vein or an artery.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Michael Eaton. Michael is joined tonight by his wife Kim and his daughter Brianna. Michael began his EMS career in 2003 when he earned his EMT-B certification. He then earned his EMT Intermediate in 2004 and in 2006 earned his paramedic. He began his fire career in 2008 as a call firefighter in Topsfield, Massachusetts. Since then, he has worked for a variety of EMS agencies throughout the Commonwealth, and most recently, a full-time firefighter paramedic for the town of Easton. During his time, he has taken on additional duties, such as a field training officer, emergency operations center manager, CERT team liaison, and Explorer Post director. Michael has earned a bachelor's degree in EMS management from Springfield College and a master's degree in public administration from Anna Marie College. In addition to the fire service, Michael is also currently serving in the Air Force Reserves. Over the course of 12 years, Michael has achieved the rank of Master Sergeant, served 1 tour in Iraq, earned his Hazmat Tech certification, and is the superintendent of the emergency management flight at Westover Air Reserve Base. Mike and his family live in Franklin. His badge will be pinned on by his daughter Brianna after his oath.
I, Michael Eaton, do solemnly swear to faithfully execute the duties as a firefighter for the town of Franklin with respect, integrity, and excellence, and to uphold the mission of the department
We'll take a quick 2-minute recess.
We get to shake our hands.
If you're a veteran, Massachusetts offers useful information for you at these websites, massvetsadvisor.com and mass.gov/veterans. To learn more, email the Franklin Post of the American Legion at mapost75@gmail.com.
Order. next item on the agenda is hearings. And we have street acceptances, Brandywine Drive, and a portion of Charles Drive. Clerk will read the,
License transaction?
no, it's not.
Still legislation.
Open the public hearing.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah, we're open the public.
Jamie, you want to do the
Quick-
lead-in
Quick lead in.
quickly?
So through you, Mr. Chair, to the council, tonight before you is the hearing and the legislation for action on the public acceptance of Brandywine Road. I'll spare a lot of the details, but this is part of the council and town administrator's goals for the next 2 years, is to get some more streets accepted and on the books. One, this is great public policy for a lot of reasons, for the residents on those streets, in terms of town services, but also just to note, we do, as a community, get reimbursed when there's a publicly accepted street. We do get reimbursed a small portion, not the entire portion, but we do get a portion of money back in Chapter 90 money for us to maintain those streets. So happy to obviously answer any questions that folks have either now or later on, and I'd probably defer most of those to the town attorney.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie. Since this is a public hearing, I will go to the public first. Is there anyone in council chambers that would like to speak on this item? Is there anyone out in Zoom land that would like to speak on this item? I'm not seeing anyone. Are you, Alicia?
No,
Okay, councilors. Is there any Counselor Hamblin from EDC you want to speak? Please.
Fastball right there.
On the pipe,
Of course,
Curveball.
absolutely.
just that it came out of EDC and,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, this went through Economic Development Subcommittee, then it went to the Planning Board. They voted unanimously to approve this. And it's always, as Administrator Helen said, it's our policy to try to accept roads so we can take care of them. We don't want anybody to get hurt in potholes, and we do get some, we do get some Chapter 90 money from it, so it's a good, situation for us.
thank you, Counselor Hamblin. Counselor Frangillo, did you have your hand up?
Just looking for recollection on there was a back and forth on this, if I remember correctly. I genuinely don't remember what the back and forth was.
Through you,
Jamie.
Mr. Chair. So the back and forth would be possibly better summarized as this is a very unique case where the overwhelming amount, if not all, street acceptances go through a streamlined process that is unique to Franklin because of special home rule legislation. I believe Mr. Nutting got that approved 15 or 20 years ago. This is a unique one because it did not go through that streamlined process, because originally the planning board did not request or suggest acceptance of the road, and so therefore we had to resort back to the process that was established in the 1880s. And so it took a few more steps and a few more hurdles to get it through, but I do give a lot of credit to the planning board for seeing the way and accepting it and moving it forward for the residents of Brandywine Road.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other counselor? Counselor Chandler?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to probably Jamie. Yes, this was a 40B, so that's why they could do whatever they wanted in this neighborhood. So they could build whatever they wanted. But the one good part about it was, there was affordable housing that came out of this project. And, do you know how many units are up there by any chance? It's kind of a hard question off the top of your head.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think it's around 60. To your point, Councilor Chandler, 25% of those under the 40B law would be deemed affordable, so I'm guessing roughly around 15.
Right, so I think that was great that there was a lot of them up there. And lastly, although I haven't seen any of those come up for lottery or anything, so people must be staying in them.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think there's been a couple sales, but largely, I think you're correct. It's not as if all 15 units have been rotating off, and I think most of the families are well settled.
All right, so that's why they didn't accept it at first, because they didn't have any control over it. But I think it was a good project to begin with. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Any other councilors? Anyone in the audience entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Since we just spoke about it, why don't we take this legislation for action right out of order and deal with it right away? So we will, Resolution 22-12, order of acceptance of Brandywine Drive and a portion of Charles Drive as public ways. Clerk will read the resolution.
This is 2212, right?
2212.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 22-12, order of layout, acceptance, and taking of Brandywine Road and portions of Charles Drive and drainage and utility easements. Whereas by virtue of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 82, Section 21 and 24, the town of Franklin, acting by and through its town council, is authorized to lay out, accept, and take by eminent domain under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 79, required by purchase or otherwise any lands, rights, or ways of easements necessary for construction and maintenance of roadways for public use. And whereas the town council has held a public hearing after having given prior written notice thereof to the owner of record, each property abutting the road as evidenced by a butter's list, a true copy of which is attached thereto as Exhibit A and noticed by newspaper publication. And whereas the layout, acceptance, and taking by eminent domain of Fee and Brandywine Road and a portion of Charles Drive, as well as drainage and utility easements as hereinafter described for roadway purposes, has been referred to by the planning board as provided by General Law, Chapter 41, Section 881I, which voted for recommended acceptance and said action is also recommended by the town administrator and the director of Franklin Department of Public Works. And whereas Marinella Development, LLC, a Massachusetts limited liability company, the owner of the fees in said roadways and said drainage utility easements, has conveyed said roadways together with said drainage and utility easements to the town by deed and grant of easements dated January 26, 2022, to be recorded at the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds herewith. And whereas the purpose of this order is to comply with statutory requirements and to conform title in town, and no land damages are therefore anticipated. And whereas said layout, acceptance, and taking is in the best public safety interest of the town of Franklin, now therefore be it ordered that the town council of the town of Franklin, by virtue in an exercise of and the execution of power and authority conferred by said statutes, hereby adjudges that public safety, necessity, and convenience require the layout, acceptance, and taking by eminent domain of the land hereinafter described for the purposes hereinafter stated. 2, the town of Franklin, acting by and through the town council by virtue and of exercise.
Motion to waive the rest of the reading?
Second.
Motion and a second to waive the rest of the reading. I know you would. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Move resolution 22-12.
Second.
Motion and second to move 22-12. A two-thirds majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, license transactions. The first one this evening is a license modification, change of location, NDO Enterprises LLC, doing business as Poor Richard's Wine and Spirits, located at 14 Grove Street. Clerk will read the license transaction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is license transaction, change of location for NDO Enterprises LLC, doing business as Poor Richard's Wine and Spirits, located at 14 Grove Street, Franklin, Massachusetts, 02038. NDO Enterprises LLC, doing businesses as Poor Richard's Wine and Spirits, is seeking approval for change of location on the retail packaged goods store and all alcoholic beverage license. The new location will be 835 West Central Street, Franklin, Massachusetts. All departments have signed off on this application, and this is a motion to approve the request of NDO Enterprises LLC, DBA Poor Richard's Wine and Spirits, for a change of location to 835 West Central Street, Franklin, Massachusetts, 02038.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion, Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, so tonight before us is a license transaction for an existing licensee, just simply moving the location as done by, on this map up here, by our amazing GIS analyst, Kate the Great Schoberg, who happens to be in the audience tonight. But in all seriousness, all departments have signed off on this application. I believe the proponent's attorney, Mr. Cornetta, is here to answer any questions. And to my knowledge, the applicant is in good standing with their license to the current date, and we see no real reason for objection to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Attorney Canetta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. I'll be brief. I think the application has been illustrated by the administrator. My chart has been put to shame by the
Kate the Great.
Nevertheless, my chart shows that that blue line, the movement is about 0.4 miles, 0.4 of a mile. We think it's a better location. When considering this type of application, you look at whether this movement is going to be encroaching on any other distribution license holders, which we don't believe it is, given the small movement. I think the site itself is zoned commercial or business, which would accommodate this type of use. The parking is more than sufficient, about 150 off-street parking spaces. I'd like to introduce you to the Nancy Williams, Ann,
Ann.
I'm sorry, Ann. She is the proprietor. You all probably know her. She's been in town in business for 10+ years. And I think she's got a stellar record at her former location. So we're hopeful that the board would act favorably on this request, and we're certainly available for any questions that you may.
Thank you, Attorney Canetta. Questions? Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one question. Is it still going to be dog-friendly? And will you, I guess I have two. And you always do a lot of fundraisers. Are you going to continue to do that at the new? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Any other councilor? Councilor Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right next to where the Green Mountain chocolate factory is? Okay.
Like he has the,
Right, over near the doctor's office.
Essentially, it's a unit. It's in a multi-unit building. It's going to be units.
I know exactly where it is. Oh, right, okay. I know exactly where it is. Perfect.
set?
Congratulations on the removal, Littleton.
I said Councilor Jones.
Best of luck.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
Good luck.
Then I would entertain a motion, or we have a motion and a second on the
we do.
floor.
Yes, sir.
So I'll call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Ann. Thanks very much.
Thank you very
Good to
much.
see you.
thank
Best
you.
of luck in your new spot.
Yes.
Okay,
Up next.
up
Up
next
on deck.
would be bylaw amendment 22. Oh, no, I'm sorry, license transaction. So, alteration of premises. Let's Eat Franklin LLC, doing business as 3 Restaurant located at 461 West Central Street. Clerk will read the license transaction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a license transaction for alteration of licensed premises. Let's Eat Franklin LLC, doing business as 3 Restaurant at 461 West Central Street, Franklin, Mass. 02038. Let's Eat Franklin LLC, DBA 3 Restaurant, is seeking approval for an alteration of premises to add permanent outdoor dining space on their subsection 12 restaurant, all alcoholic beverage licenses, an updated site plan with proposed alterations is attached here to as Exhibit A. All departments have signed off on this application. This is a motion to approve the request by Let's Eat Franklin LLC DBA 3 Restaurant for alteration of premises to add outdoor dining space on their subsection 12 restaurant. All alcoholic beverages licenses as shown on Exhibit A.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion, Jamie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you to the council. I just want to note, this is for an alteration of premises for a permanent outdoor seating space, which many of you may be familiar with up at 3. I do want to note, this is the first application since the pandemic of the first successfully fully permitted outdoor seating space that has come after all of those laws were passed over the last 2 years. And I really want to congratulate 3 on doing a tremendous amount of work to get to this point and working through the various permitting boards. All of our departments have signed off on the application, and they've done a phenomenal job up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Please, if you just identify
Evening.
yourself.
My name's Steve Corcoran. I'm the owner of 3. And before I get into our plan, I just want to say 2 years ago, the town council approved the temporary patio, and it's just been a tremendous success for us and most likely all the other restaurants in town. Honestly, without that, we probably wouldn't be here tonight. So thank you very much for that. It's been a real game changer. And so tonight, I'm here to propose to make the temporary patio permanent. Basically, our plan is to, in essence, keep the patio in the same location that it currently is. We're going to shift it a little bit further away from the building. That was at the request of the fire department. They wanted a 20-foot fire lane, so we're going to push it out a little bit. And then we're going to push it away from the front door. So it's going to kind of shift west and north by about 10 feet in each direction. The patio will have concrete bollards surrounding it around the parking lot to prevent any cars from going from the parking lot into the patio. There'll be a 7-foot vinyl fence for screening and sound protection. And then inside, we're going to pour a concrete slab and have a bunch of plantings around the perimeter and the inside to kind of make it a nice garden feel and kind of warm up the space a little bit. The seating will stay the exact same as we've had for the last 2 years, 116 seats. And we're also proposing a bar, 20-foot bar with full bar operation that will service the patio. Patio will be seasonal. And basically, you know, we've had it for 2 years. We've had 0 issues, 0 complaints, and our intention is to continue that good run.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Questions from the council? Councilor DeLorco.
This might be to Jamie. Does he have to pay the $7,500 or is that Boston?
I knew he was,
Good luck.
I knew he was going to say that.
Of course. Councilor Chandler.
Just a couple of quick things. I'm glad we're not charging you $7,500.
Me too.
And what other thing I'm glad about is the barriers and stuff, because that is your parking lot right there.
Sure.
For safety. And one quick question, now that you're gonna have a bar out there, what about these cocktails to go?
You know,
Are you doing much of that, or?
no, we still can.
Okay.
And we will if somebody requests it, but I don't think we've done one in
I was just gonna say, I haven't heard too much about that. I was just wondering how that was working.
It
because
was
I
never a
still-
huge thing. It was just more, it was nice. It was a nice amenity, but I don't think.
I just saw with the outside bar, I didn't know, so.
Yeah.
But that's good that there's not too much of that,
Yeah.
actually. Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate that, Mr.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Councilor Hamblin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Steve, thank you for putting in all the effort to make
Thank you.
this a permanent thing. It wasn't easy.
Yep.
We see that it cost you
Yeah.
a
Yeah. it did.
nice chunk of money, but this is what people in Franklin want, and I just want to thank you for putting in the effort for
Well, thank you.
the community, because
It's
it's
an awesome
just
town
great.
to be in. The customers are great. Town government's great, so happy to do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a quick question. Will you be doing a separate maitre d' for the outside area versus people having to go inside?
Depending on the time of day,
Okay,
you know, in the slower afternoon time, people have to go inside and then come back out. But we'll have a hostess desk out there so people can just walk in and,
just a suggestion.
yeah.
You know, having gone to your restaurant many times in the summer, it kind of bottlenecks out there, and people don't really know which way to go.
Yeah.
Especially with the parking lot, so.
Sure.
Okay, thank
Good
you.
idea, thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier Ledger. Councilor Jones.
Question. Covered? Not covered.
Not covered.
No, not covered, no.
I'm looking forward to the results.
Great.
I'm gonna come by and visit. I'm only a few blocks away.
Excellent.
Check it out. and best of luck, by the
We
way.
can all go.
We can all do that, yeah.
We'll have a council meeting.
Yeah, hurry up with this meeting and go there tonight.
We're open.
Any other counselors? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve the license modification for Let's Eat Franklin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Best of luck.
Okay. Next license modification, new Section 12 Restaurant Common Victulars, all alcohol license, and approval of Veronica Matunin as the manager. Windtop Acres doing business as Birchwood Bakery located at 17 East Central Street. Please come forward. Clerk will read the license transaction.
I thought you were gonna read it.
Nope.
License transaction, new common victulars, subsection 12, restaurant, alcoholic beverages. This is for Windtop Acres Incorporated, doing business as Birchwood Bakery at 17 East Central Street, Franklin, Mass., downtown Boston, downtown Franklin. Windtop Acres Incorporated, DBA Birchwood Bakery, is seeking approval for a new subsection 12 restaurant, all alcoholic beverages license, and to approve the manager, Veronica Matunin. All departments have signed off on this application. This is a motion to approve the request by Windtop Acres Incorporated, DBA Birchwood Bakery, for new Section 12 restaurant, all alcoholic beverages license, and to approve Veronica Matunin as the manager.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to point out this is a new license, and one of the values in Franklin that we have is the unlimited quota, where we don't have to petition anybody or the legislature and wait. And here's one of the benefits to that, where we have a new license owner that we can help get through the process really quickly to help their business. We welcome Birchwood Bakery to town, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware that all departments have signed off on this liquor license, and everybody is in great compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions from the council? Councilor Hamblin?
Here I go again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Veronica. Thank you for being here and doing this in your bakery. Through your, all the paperwork, it didn't say anything about if you are tips trained or if you are who's gonna train the staff.
I am, and I
Okay.
just recertified myself today, actually.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. Have you ever been the manager of a place that had served alcohol before?
In New York, at the country club that we worked at, we all had to do like an apprenticeship, and then we all started working there afterwards. And part of that was managing the liquor and setting up the staff and doing private parties and stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're very welcome, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had the pleasure of meeting Eduardo yesterday and stopping in Birchwoods and checking out. I would, unfortunately, had an opportunity to check the place out, but I got to say, it looks great. You've done a very nice job modeling the inside and really making it a comfortable, inviting place to go to. I will definitely be frequenting it since I'm only just a few blocks away from it. But one of the things I have to admit is that, and this kind of goes to Jamie's point about being able to allow the freedom of being able to pass out these beer and wine licenses, anything that can help support small business. And this is, in my opinion, going to be a great plus or added bonus to your business, and I hope it helps. And along the lines of what Councilor Hamblin is, so long as everyone's trained and everyone just kind of does their due diligences, just to prevent any issues from happening. I highly doubt there's going to be any, but best of luck, and welcome to the downtown.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Jones. Councilor Cormier Ledger?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. I have at least seen you both at Birchwood a couple of times and really enjoy going there. So I guess I'm a little bit confused because I see you guys as a breakfast and lunch place. So are you thinking of extending into the dinner hours, and that's why you're asking for alcohol to be served, or can you just clarify?
You're better at
We want to give anybody the opportunity to have a more leisurely lunch and eventually add items to the menu. Sit down with a cheese salad
Okay.
We have thought of eventually extending the hours, especially in the summer and outdoor seating, but we need to find the people who
Okay.
struggle so far finding.
So more of a European model, like to a cafe type thing. Okay.
My accent, yeah,
Well, wine with lunch, right? That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier Ledger. Councilor Chandler.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Great questions already, and I just want to say that I'm so happy that we can hand these out, because that explained everything why you'd want it. I had a little concern too about that. And like I always say, some dollars are better than no dollars. So hopefully you bring some more in with this. And now a question through you, Mr. Chairman, to Jamie. I saw that Dean College is the landlord there. So obviously there's, it's all dorms above. So does Dean only pay half taxes on that building because they have dorms there and they get rent money?
Yeah.
How does that work, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, they actually do pay the property taxes of the whole building.
Okay, that's, I
there's
wanted
a-
people to know that, because I was probably gonna get that question.
Yeah, there's a pilot agreement from many years ago that I believe my predecessor was involved in before I might have gotten here, where the college agreed to pay the property taxes for that building. In addition, they're also paying the property taxes on one of the buildings they purchased recently off School Street.
It's all good to know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. and
Thank
good
you.
luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Any other councilors? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve an all alcoholic license and approval of Veronica Matanin as the manager, Wintop Acres. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Good luck.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
That's great news.
Cheese and wine.
For brunch.
Weekend brunch sounds great.
For brunch.
Okay, moving on, presentations and discussion. Opera update. I think I would turn it over to the town administrator.
And I'll kick it over to the town attorney. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to make sure he was still with us. Alicia, can you make that full screen by any chance? Is that not possible? No. That's probably not good. But we'll try it here. So you can go to the next slide, Alicia. So tonight I'm just giving an overview for everybody of where we're at. There is legislation for action, which we're required to do, which I'll get to in a minute. Yeah, it might be a little too big. Usually it's okay. That's perfect. So really quickly, I'm going to dive right into it and blow past a lot of the stuff that you got to plug in your laptop, Alicia. Could be doing these
That's
without
because you're
slides.
working too hard, Alicia.
Yeah.
Too long already.
And
Just had a long day, our batteries are on low.
it's funny too, the pointer, I used it for a few times. We had a couple of them that broke, and then this one broke again, so it's just been one of those kind of days. But really quickly for the folks at home, the town budget site is up there. People can go look at the memos from the previous authorizations. This is not the CARES Act. The CARES Act money is gone. It's past the statutory deadline. Most people are familiar with those expenditures. FEMA reimbursement, we're not going to talk about tonight. We anticipate about $500,000. We don't expect that money coming in anytime soon because it's FEMA, but it will come in. That was from the original year of the pandemic. And then tonight we're going to go into a little bit more of a detail of the American Rescue Act plan. I did a presentation back in October. This is to get an update, and as you'll see in a minute, there is legislation tonight for action. So just as an overview for the folks that have not been paying attention, the town has received $10.1 million in funds, not yet all, but we were authorized to have that through the legislation. This is the bill that passed in March of 2021 by President Biden. There are two pots of monies. It's important to understand that. There's municipal allotments and there's county allotments. And we're going to break that down tonight, but I've put up here on the screen the allotment and the revised timelines of receipt of those funds. I do expect those dates to continue to get pushed out in the future as a lot of this gets rolled out. It's very time consuming. And so those dates have changed since the October presentation, And just for reference, the October presentation, again, is on the website so people can kind of follow along. One good new rule that has come out that has changed since October is all funds now have an expiration date of December 31st, 2026. Last time I reported it was 2024. The interim rules changed, where now we have to have the projects procured by December 31st, 2024, but we can still pay out the receipts and bills up until 2026. ARPA funds are available in 5 or 6 categories: public health, economic impacts, revenue replacement, employee premium pay, and 2 different types of infrastructure, which is the majority of what we're going to talk about tonight and that many of you are familiar with. The Norfolk, we get the municipal allotments direct to the town in the form of a grant. So we get a direct grant assistance. You'll understand a little bit more in a minute. The Norfolk County Commissioners are the gatekeeper in distributing the county allocations. All county funds have had a 3% surcharge, something or other, taken off the top for them to administer the program. 2.5% is for administration. 0.5% is for county projects. I do not know what the county is going to spend the money on, and it's none of my business. Overall, the town of Franklin lost about $200,000 from that county policy. Counties such as Middlesex County, a lot of people are going to hear from other communities that they got the full amount, they can spend it on whatever they want. That is true. Not everything they want, but mostly they can make up some things. And you're going to hear these rumors out there. And the reason why is a county like Middlesex does not exist. There is no recognized county government. Therefore, under the federal legislation, county monies went directly to those municipalities that do not have a recognizable county government. Being Norfolk with a county government that is still in state statute, we, of course, have a different process. Tonight's legislation for action in a moment finalizes the authority required under the county rules for me to submit the application to get the first disbursement of county money. If approved tonight and then goes through the county, we should receive the funds hopefully this summer at a date to be determined. Guidance on ARPA funds will continue to evolve. We just went to Lake Pearl, where I saw my predecessor, Mr. Nutting, who just can't seem to get away from his business. Really, we went over there for an update. There was a new interim rule put out in January from the United States Treasury, which changed a few things. The key change for Franklin is the revenue replacement category. This allows up to a $10 million revenue loss, quote unquote. It's called a standard allowance. So if you're in Middlesex County and you do not have a county government, you have fewer restrictions than what we do because we have a county government. And the town administrator is going to exercise this clause, and you'll see this in a few moments, for the more flexible spending categories for the municipal allocations only. Revenue replacement, that designation for the county money is cumulative. So if you're a Middlesex County and you're a town in that district, you do not have to have a cumulative revenue replacement. You can say, oh, we lost these revenues, here's how we would have spent them, and go out and spent them. The real disaster in this, and I do know that our advocates are working very hard on this, the fact that it's cumulative among the county means Quincy, Foxborough, Norwood, Westwood, Braintree, Weymouth, Franklin, every town in Norfolk County can only designate up to $10 million cumulatively in revenue loss. The town of Foxborough alone lost over $5 million in the 2-year pandemic. The town of Norwood lost almost $5 million during the pandemic. Both of those centers, as you can imagine, with the hotels, Gillette, the Auto Mile, they lost a lot of money. And so ultimately, at this juncture, until the rules change, I am not exercising anything as part of that formula. It is absolutely not worth the time because the revenue replacement cumulative for the county is a number that we can't even calculate because it's so large. And so I did have a one-on-one meeting last week with Congressman Auchincloss and our legislative delegation. He really has been a tremendous advocate on, one, getting the revenue replacement rule changed in January, In addition, they are pushing the federal government pretty hard on making sure that we can get an interim rule change on the county allocations. But of course, as you would expect, there is no timeline on that, and I wouldn't expect anything soon. But we'll see how that goes throughout the rest of 2022. Next slide. So county allocation number 1, which is before you tonight, for authorization for me to file the application, is a 3-year water main replacement program at about $1.5 million, which we've discussed before in October. In addition, I did bump up the number for the stormwater eligibility to $1.5 million, as we explained at the last meeting, and you'll hear again tonight with the second reading of the utility fee. This appropriation will get us through this fiscal year until FY24 and be the real bridge that we need to comply with our MS4 permit this year until the utility fee is able to go into effect 15 months from now. And number 3, as we did discuss back in October, it's our intent to hire a second mental health clinician for the Franklin Police Department. And all of these projects benefit the public at large and stabilize taxpayer money. 2 projects that were brought up in October that received consensus from the council was the North Side Public Safety Tower and a Vax fridge. We had a few extra dollars in the CARES Act account, so we did buy the fridge, which is down at the senior center now. But most notably, the Public Safety Tower, unbeknownst to us at the time, when we put forth our model, a private developer was 2 parcels over from the town parcel and had just gone through the ZBA to get a tower, a cell phone tower, up on the north side of town with exactly the same goals that we had. And so when we both realized that we were going in the same direction and we'd be competing for cell phone leases on the top of the towers, the developer gave the town the top 40 to 50 feet for all public safety uses on that side of town, which also means the town doesn't have to spend the $1 million to build the tower. We don't own it, we don't have to insure it or maintain it. And so the developer was incredibly collaborative, and we've worked out most of the agreements. It's in the ZBA decisions that we get that. And now Mike D'Angelo is working, as you heard from the fire chief earlier about communication, they're now working on trying to scope out what the type of equipment we would need for public safety in the MEC on that tower up there. So that's really good news, and we were able to put that extra funding into the stormwater infrastructure category. Next slide. So county allocations, just a little bit more details. 1.5 million on water mains. That's for our year Schedule 3 and some of year 4 work. This is critical. The water rate payers in town will not have to subsidize these projects and will hopefully stabilize water rates. I have a list of the projects up there. We've included a memo in the packet for more details, and of course our illustrious DPW, who's on a real high tonight from the earlier presentation, is here to answer any questions about those projects. Next slide. Ditto for stormwater, $1.5 million. What this really does is mostly correct a lot of drainage basins, outfalls, and culverts in town. Again, goes towards the stormwater permit. Ensures the utility ratepayers do not have to fund these projects in the future. And again, there's an extensive memo with a list of projects that the DPW and Derek Adams and the team over there will work on over the course of the next year and a half. Next slide. And finally, the mental health clinician, all this is a lot of prideful work, but this one in particular means a lot, and I hope it means a lot to other folks. We have a target date of July 1st. That's what we scoped the budget out on. We hope that this grant of $240,000 will go for a 3-year commitment of having that second clinician off, not at the same time, but hopefully what we'll be able to do is work out the schedules where there's more coverage of that clinician on weekends or after hours at a different shift. The chief of police and the staff are currently working with advocates to work on that. As TJ has said before, as the chief has said, we were lucky to get the jail diversion grant a few years before the pandemic started. I don't think I need to explain to anybody on this call or in the council. We were just starting to kind of make a dent in some really difficult cases. and the pandemic has hit, and I don't think I need to explain to anybody here the incredible amount of additional emergency room visits, phone calls, police calls, and the stress on the EMS system. And I hope that as the rules continue to evolve and hopefully be expanded as this gets going, I think in future years we hope to look and see if there's some additional resources through ARPA that we can put towards mental health. I've had a lot of outside the box ideas. I've met with mental health clinicians and mental health organizations, and the sad news is I've tried to see if I can spend more money on the issue, and the truth of the matter is the system is literally just bursting at the seams. There just simply are not, there's no clinicians to hire. There's no services to outsource. There's no contracts I could come up with. We are very fortunate to have the SAFE Coalition as a part of our community, and of course they're going to be getting a sizable chunk of money from the cannabis fees, but obviously the increase in anxiety and stress, loss, and devastation through the pandemic has really put a toll on mental health and substance abuse, and so hopefully this will go a large part into trying to intercept some of those tough calls and make some improvements in the community. Next slide. So back to the municipal allocation, where we have a little more freedom. So I've listed up here a modest amount of expenditures. The filter replacements for the HEPA filters, mostly for the school district, it was about $90,000. Some modest Board of Health supplies of $1,000, and we're reserving about $50,000 for a consultant. We actually hired a Franklin resident and former town administrator, Jen Thompson, to administer all of our reporting with the federal government, because I can speak for Alicia on this one. We are both wiped out from the exhaustive reporting requirements of this, and Jen knows this stuff as well as anybody. She does 17 towns, and we're very, very lucky that she, well, it was probably easy because she lives in Franklin, so. But anyways, Jen's been a longtime friend and colleague, and she's going to be filling in all of our paperwork for us. And really the big piece tonight that I'm proud of is that due to that standard allowance provision, it now allows the town to go back, and we've recalculated the revenue loss from hotel motel tax revenue over those 2 years. And while a lot of details still have to be remained to fill out and whatnot, I figured seeing as how we were giving an ARPA update for the county, I would at least acknowledge that we're looking at right now about $1 million of money that we would have had for hotel and motel tax revenue through those 2.5 years. We can now actually, as all of you know, we normally spent all that money on roads, sidewalk replacements, maintenance and stuff. Well, now we can give Brutus more money to honestly go back over those projects that we were not able to finish, mostly maintenance projects, by the way. And we're going to be able to go back and hopefully use these funds that we lost from the hotel motel tax over those years and put it right towards road work and sidewalk work and replacement. And I just have to say one more plug again. This was really what our congressional delegation was fighting for over the last 6 to 8 months. And I just can't thank Congressman Auchincloss enough and his staff for their incredible engagement with municipalities. And very interactive, and I'm very happy that this rule was able to be changed at the federal level. Next slide. Oh, and just a bunch of links to the town website where all these materials are, the MMA website, which has an endless, exhaustive list for those who are sleep deprived of federal funds. And if you really, really, really are having a hard time sleep, you can go to the U.S. Treasury site and read the 573-page interim rule that I just summarized. I know, 20 minutes, but I just summarized for you in about 20 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jamie.
Nice.
Questions or comments from the council? Councilor Jones?
I think you know what my point's gonna be.
I do.
I just.
You live 2 blocks from Jamie.
Well, I live at least 17 blocks from Jamie. But in all honesty, it's very unfortunate that we have to go through the county form like this. This is
Without
just,
question.
This is just. Let's put it this way, without getting upset. It's an unfortunate management way of doing things, and I think this kind of harps back to the question I had last time we had this discussion. They get to sit on their percentage, that 3%
Yep.
that they're call it a retainer,
Yep.
For lack of a better word.
Lack of a better word, yeah.
Call it a retainer.
It's a loan shark.
Exactly. That 3%, are they under the same obligations as we are, as far as the timeline is concerned? Can they bank that money? I'm concerned as to what exactly the county plans on doing with that.
Through you,
Fixing
Mr.
the
Chairman,
roads.
Councilor Jones, you ask an excellent question. They are susceptible to the same rules as cities and towns in terms of the expenditure limits, the timeline, all of that stuff. 2.5%, again, is for supposedly the administrative review. They built another online portal, which Alicia just yawned when I said the words online portal, because we are portaled out. And as if we needed any more portals. I'm done with portals. And also a legal review. Those projects that are listed are slam dunk layouts. Those are right in the law. There is no real need to sit there and say, wow, what if? Those are clear. That is, Congressman Auchincloss even said to me last week, he was proud of the way we were spending the money. This was exactly the way Congress intended us to spend it. He said it right to us in a group of 10 people on a call. This was the way it was supposed to be intended to be spent. He gave us a couple huge thumbs up for that. Obviously, I think the mental health clinician sticks out too. But other than that, they said 0.5% is going to go towards county projects. You can tune into the county commissioners meeting, Councilor Jones, to find out what they're doing, because I have no idea.
Well, I'll add that to my list of interesting things to watch. But in all honesty, I guess my other question also goes back to the same one I asked earlier, last time we had this discussion, is accumulated interest. You're talking $3.5 million sitting, because we're getting doled out every three months, correct?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, no, we're not getting doled out that often. But to your point, the county is making interest off the lump sum of $138 million that they've been given from the federal government.
And what do they have to do with it?
I
General
largely,
fund.
Councilor Jones, I stay in my lane, and I don't know.
And I apologize if I
No.
seem like I'm getting a little frustrated. It's just that these are useful monies that could go towards some useful expenses, and I'm just frustrated that it's done this way. Anyways, that's my rant. Anything is better than nothing, I guess, at the end of the day. But it's just unfortunate that it's such a loss. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Jones. Councilor Sheridan.
If this is the wrong time, how do you get rid of the county like the other people did?
We don't want to.
So, you need statutory, you need the legislature to essentially be petitioned to get rid of the
Expand.
county. That's how Middlesex and the other counties have absolved theirs. And there have been proposals through the years at the legislative level to abolish counties, but counties that want to stay usually fight back. I will note to Councilor Sheridan, a little small tangent to Councilor Jones' question too. When the CARES Act came out, the law was done at the municipal level. But 40 out of the 50 states, at least the rest of the country, work off nothing but county government. There is no municipal government. So those counties had the inverse problem during the CARES Act, and of course, told their legislators that. And so when this came up, they kind of flipped it. So we're now on the receiving end of the bad side, but if you're in Kansas, this is great because they're all county government, or in Idaho and Montana. So just for intellectual curiosity.
How's that, Councilor Sheridan? Councilor Frangillo?
Sure, yeah, just a quick note. I just wanted to commend you again. I was going to scrutinize, any list you put in front of us. We had early conversation, and I loved the list then. You presented to us. I loved the list then, and I still think it's a fantastic use of the funds. And I really appreciate all the work that you guys put in on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to echo what Councilor Frangillo said. Also, it's great news on the public safety tower as well. That frees up more money to go to stormwater things, so we can make sure our water is healthy. Roads, mental health clinicians. I wish you could find more people, because we know we need them here with us. But seriously, we do need more people to help. That being said, the more amount of work that the DPW is gonna do, can they actually physically do all the work that we have the money for now?
Through you, Mr. Chair, so as a little bit of a budget preview, my budget proposal will include the 2 additional positions in the DPW budget that were reduced from last year. So those 2 folks are going to have a lot of work in front of them. Just kidding. In all seriousness, it will be a mix of in-house and likely outsourced projects. Obviously, the water mains, I believe, Mike, they're already out to bid. Contracts have been settled for a couple of those for money that we already have. And Brutus, at the end of a lot of his presentations, always puts that thumb up of getting it done.
Yep.
So I hope that this falls in that category, and I think they have all the confidence in the world that they're going to really do all this.
Look at him, he's shaking his head.
And he decides to shake his head right now. Out of all the times he could have said, "Hey, boss, time out." Right now, no.
He's just shaking his head. No,
yeah.
I understand that it's stressful. We have
Yeah.
to get it all done in a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
We have to spend that money, so we really appreciate everything you guys do, definitely, for us. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was very excited to see the $1 million coming through the hotel money and to see sidewalks mentioned there, Jamie, because Jamie knows that sidewalks are one of my concerns and one of the concerns brought by our constituents. So I hope, rather than the creation of new sidewalks, that we can use that money to fix some of the sidewalks around town that we already have, that are in pretty terrible disrepair. When you walk around some of our neighborhoods, you see people walking on the street, they're with their strollers, with their dogs, with their kids, because the sidewalks, they can't use them. So I know there's a long list of projects, and I'm not berating our DPW department. They do a great job, but I hope we can look at some of those sidewalks with some of that money.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier Ledger. Councilor Chandler.
All set.
Councilor DeLorco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Great job with the money. Now, can the county commissioners keep postponing that, giving us the money? Like, you said this summer, but I got kind of a vibe that it might be longer.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm not familiar. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was at a managers meeting, and at the time, the only town that we were aware of that had received money was the town of Wellesley. Up to this point, it's just a bit of an unknown. Tonight, if the resolution goes through, Jen is already prepared the application. The clerk will get her a copy of the true test copy, and the application will go out tomorrow, Friday. And then a phone call will be made by myself to the county commissioners to make sure that they approve that quickly. And it'll be kind of a guinea pig, I think, for a lot of other communities to see, here's an easy layup project list. It's only 3. All the paperwork and documentation is completely set. And so we'll see what the timeline is for the county.
I'll get on the phone. I know 2 of them pretty well,
Yeah.
too, so I'll get on the phone with them, too.
Great.
But they also have, I don't know if their projects, if those money are going to, because they have the registry of deeds. They have, the President's Golf Course that they have to keep that up.
Aggie.
The Aggie.
Yeah,
you know,
courthouse.
All the courthouses too, so,
That's true.
that all has to get caught up too, so.
Can I forget
What's
about
that?
Aggie?
Thank you, Councilor DeLorco. Jamie, thank you. A very informative update, and I think 3 great projects. So with that, we will move on to legislation for action.
20.
Resolution 22-24, authorization for town administrator to submit American Rescue Plan Act applications to Norfolk County. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Resolution 2224, Town Council acceptance and/or approval of American Rescue Plan Act or ARPA funds. The Franklin Town Council, on behalf of the Town of Franklin, hereby accepts the receipt of ARPA funds from and through Norfolk County, Mass., approves expenditure of funds for the below listed purposes, and authorize the town administrator to execute any and all documents and/or to take any and all other action required for town to receive these said funds. Mental health clinician, $240,000. Stormwater improvement, $1,500,000, and water main replacements for $1,471,185, for a total county allocation of Part 1 of $3,211,185. This resolution should become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 22-24.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Jamie, anything to add? Questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 22-24. Majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bylaw Amendment 22-876, Chapter 153, Stormwater Management, Corrective Legislation. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is bylaw amendment 22-876, chapter 153, stormwater management. A bylaw to amend the code of town of Franklin, to chapter 153, stormwater management.
Motion to waive the reading?
Second.
Motion is second to waive the reading. All those in favor of waiving the reading signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Move-
carries.
Move bylaw amendment 22-876.
Is there a second?
Second. Sorry.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jamie, quick summary.
Yeah, this is the second reading of the bylaw approved at the last meeting, which is the corrective legislation in the stormwater bylaw language that allows for the abatement credit related systems that we have to put out as part of the program.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve bylaw amendment 22-876. Again, a majority roll call. Oh, it's a roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
So it's a majority roll call. Clerk will call the roll.
I would be happy to.
Yeah, roll call.
The next four are roll call.
Oh,
For the charter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cormier Ledger.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Chandler.
Yes.
Angelo.
Yes.
Hamblin.
Yes.
Jones, yes. Vice Chair.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
That's 8, 1 absent, sir.
Motion carries. Bylaw Amendment 22-877, Chapter 82, Municipal Service Fees, amended at Section 82-6, Schedule of Service Fees, Subsection A, Administration Stormwater Utility Fee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is bylaw amendment 22-877, Chapter 82 Fees, Municipal Service, Stormwater Utility Fee, a bylaw to amend the Code of the Town of Franklin at Chapter 82 Fees, Municipal Service by adding a new definition of stormwater utility fee and new service fee, stormwater utility. Be it enacted by the Franklin Town Council that Chapter 82 of the Code of Town of Franklin Fees and Municipal Services is hereby amended as follows. Section 82-15 Service Fee Definitions. Insert in appropriate alphabetical order a new definition. Stormwater utility fee shall have the definition provided in the Code of the Town of Franklin, Chapter 153, Stormwater Management. Article 5, Stormwater Utility, subsection 153-31 Definitions. Section 82-6, Schedule of Service Fees. Insert in subsection L, Public Works, in appropriate alphabetical order, a new service fee. Service fee, stormwater utility, at a rate of $18.66 per billing unit per property. This bylaw amendment shall become effective on and after July 1st of 2023.
Move bylaw amendment 22-877.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is the second and final vote to enact the utility fee for stormwater into the fee schedule of the town code.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Ledger.
Yes.
Cormier Ledger. Frangillo.
Yes.
Chandler.
Yes.
Jones, yes. Hamblin.
Yes.
Vice Chair.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
8, 1 absent, sir.
Motion carries. Bylaw Amendment 22-878, Chapter 82, Municipal Service Fees, amended at section 82-6, schedule of service fees, subsection A, administration, passport photo fee. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is bylaw amendment 22878, Chapter 82 municipal service fees, passport photo fee, a bylaw to amend the Code of Town of Franklin of Chapter 82 fees, municipal services by adding new service passport photo, be it enacted by the Franklin Town Council that Chapter 82 of the Code of the Town of Franklin fees. Municipal services is hereby amended as follows: to add to subsection 82-6, schedule of service fees under administration, passport photo, $10. This bylaw amendment shall be effective in accordance with the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move bylaw amendment 22-878.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion on the motion. Jamie, anything?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's just a second and final vote to put the passport fee of $10 per photo into the town code. And now we're full-service passport center. First floor, shameless plug. Come on in, get your passports, bring the whole family, bring the grandparents, and go travel.
And just to clarify, this is a passport photo fee, not a passport fee.
Which is set by, the fee is all set by the
Right.
federal government.
Correct. Any questions from the council?
I need a passport to go to Rentham?
Just to leave the county.
Thanks,
Okay, clerk, clerk will read the roll.
Cormier Ledger.
Yes.
Sheridan.
Yes.
Chandler.
Yes.
Frangilla.
Yes.
Hamblin.
Yes.
Jones, yes. Vice Chair.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes,
That's 8, 1 absent, sir.
motion carries. Resolution 22-25, gift acceptance, Conservation Commission, $1,000, and Veteran Services Department, $300. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Resolution 2225, acceptance of gift, Conservation Commission and Veteran Services Department, whereas the Conservation Commission and Veteran Service Department has received generous donations totaling $1,300 to be used at the discretion of each respective department as follows. Donation summary: Conservation Commission, 1 donation to be applied towards the annual Delcart Earth Day event and other programs and events as decided by the commission. For Mr. Joe Halligan, $1,000. Veteran Services Department, donations to be applied towards the Veterans Municipal Assistance Fund and used at the department's discretion to help support local veterans and their families. From the VFW Auxiliary Post 3402, $300. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Franklin, on behalf of the Conservation Commission and the Veteran Services Department, gratefully accepts this generous donation to be used at the discretion of the Conservation Commission and the Veteran Services Department as described above. This resolution shall become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 22-25.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Jamie?
Just want to thank everybody for their generous donations, especially just to note Mr. Halligan's, I think, numerous contributions to the Conservation Commission. One of the things that Joe always tells me is nobody should be going to an event like that without getting the free T-shirt and free food, and his money always goes towards their costs for the Earth Day cleanup. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any counselors? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 22-25. A majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Town Administrators Report, FY23 Budget Update.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. So the budget will be out 2 weeks from today, but just as a bit of a quick preview, I think the theme for this year is that we're going to be extraordinarily grateful for what we have and focus on the positives. I do want to give a couple of highlights. One, I want the folks who have been advocating for the school department to feel really good about their advocacy. It appears that the number that they've requested, we will be able to put into the budget this year. And so we look forward to continuing the incredible education services that the school district does. 2, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be able to add in the additional positions we lost last year for the Public Works Department, which is going to be key for these guys over here. And we're obviously, as folks know, We did some reforms down at the senior center. Just a few highlights. Again, our staff is working around the clock to put the whole budget together. But I'm very proud of the whole staff, and I think everybody in town is going to be very pleased with the town administrator's recommended budget. I would note on the senior center, speaking of some changes and reforms, our chef has arrived. She started, Ann, last Monday, April 4th. The kitchen will now be open on April 11th. For those of you that follow the senior center on Instagram, you saw some of the early renderings of make your own pizzas and a variety of cool stuff. I'm really, really excited to have Ann as part of the team. And she's already, I gave her full carte blanche authority to move whatever she wants in the kitchen. It's her turf. I cook at home. I know how it feels. We want her to feel empowered to do what she does. And we're very excited. So hopefully, I already warned her. April 11th, you might have a big crowd. Make sure you buy plenty of eggs. You might want to just go buy a pig for the bacon because there's going to be a lot of people showing up. But for those of you that go to town council office hours like all of us, in a couple weeks, everybody will be able to meet Ann and hopefully taste her delicious food. The Quiet Zone study, as I just replied to a lady 2 minutes ago that's been emailing Kobe and I, the Quiet Zone study, we have received the $70,000 after 9 months of advocacy, of peeling the money away from the MBTA. We finally have the money wired in hand, and Mike Maglio and our engineering team, because they do everything at the DPW, is going to be getting that project going over hopefully the summer. That study will take a little while, but at least that project is going. The SNET permitting for the $200,000 of work that we're required to do for the land swap has been permitted by the Conservation Commission, and we hope to get that project moving on later this summer. And I couldn't help earlier, when the fire department was here, I don't do this often. We have a tremendous amount of staff, but I have to make note of Dave Morris has officially put in his retirement notice after 36 plus years with the Franklin Fire Department. For those of you that know Dave, his incredibly big smile and warm generosity, it is just, when you say 36 plus years, it's just pretty sobering. I walk out, you congratulate him out here, and he just has the same smile, the same handshake as he's ever had. And it's just, again, 36 years. So anybody knows Dave Moe, give him a hug, give him a shake. I'm sure we'll do all the awards at the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman, but I did have to acknowledge him. We're sad to have lost our second GIS staffer, Danica, but this is the, hopefully not too often, but we're really proud to have had Danica for a couple years. And someone peeled her away from us, gave her big bucks. And as folks know, we got the compensation and classification study going right now, which looks, we report later this fall, but looking at our competitive advantage. And I think what Danica brought and her energy, there's a great example of where we need to look down in the future about what kind of investments we're paying people, all of our staff, if we're going to ever keep and retain people for the future. And I'm just going to finalize today. You can't say enough about Chief McLaughlin and the incredible job the chief has done in our fire department. All of you, you walk out in the hall. What do they tell me? I never thought I'd ever see this day. I know all of you have heard this. But 45,000 departments, 459th. We are in the 0.01% of the best fire departments in the United States of America. 15 in New England, 15. 9 of them are major cities: Boston, Cambridge, New Bedford, Fall River. Very, very sobering to think of the incredible job that they have done. We talk about how great our staff is. We boast about it from time to time. But with the acknowledgments tonight for the DPW and the Water Department and the Fire Department to receive that designation, and our Police Department will be a fully accredited police department later this summer. Just incredible, incredible stuff. What Jim McLaughlin did not mention, he got lost in the shuffle, is for every residential homeowner, every commercial owner in town needs to make sure they tell their homeowners or commercial insurer about this. It got lost in the shuffle. We're talking about significant savings on people's insurance rates. One of our DPW employees told me last week they already went and told their insurer, and they did get a 3.5% decrease on their homeowner's insurance bill. When we talk about government raising fees, here's one where we're actually saving people money on the other end. And I have to be a little over the top about it, because we talk about the bad stuff, but we always kind of forget sometimes of the ways we do save money and we do the work to help people out in their own costs. Not just electricity and aggregation, but here was an amazing example tonight. So anybody out there listening, and I know that they'll do press releases and all that stuff, please contact your insurer and see if you're eligible for a rate decrease. And just a huge congratulations to the chief and the department on a job incredibly well done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions for Jamie? Okay, moving on, future agenda items. Councilor Cormier Ledger,
None at this time.
Councilor Chandler,
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Sheridan,
Nothing this time.
Councilor Frangillo.
I believe it's a matter for the school committee at least first, but I would like to make sure that we follow up with the student concern.
Yes,
on
absolutely, absolutely. Councilor Hamblin,
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Jones.
No, sir. No, sir.
Councilor
I have none.
DeLarco. Okay, councilor comments. Councilor Sheridan.
I too would like to graduate the fire department. My father's a firefighter for 30 years. I also like to congratulate a local resident, Jermaine Samuels Jr., who was in the Final Four for Villanova. He lives 2 doors down from me, and I remember him walking to Davis Thayer and Andy Sullivan. So it was great seeing him on TV.
Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor Frangillo.
Yeah, a few events. Still got the Metro West Arts and Culture Symposium coming up on the 14th. Earth Day on the 23rd, if you want to get involved and help clean up some key areas around town. That's always a fun day. Senior Center Needs Forum. They're doing a community forum on needs on the 8th, the 12th, and the 27th. If you look on their social media. Our sports are still crushing it. 11-0 on the first day of the spring. And theater, I got my first chance to catch a theater performance this year, and I don't want to steal all the thunder away from Councilor Jones, but they are incredible. It was a fantastic performance, and they won regionals. If there was another level, I'm sure they would have won that. They're one of 14 theater departments recognized in the state. It was a really, really cool performance. So, good sports, good theater. We love it.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Councilor Hamblin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, would like to just congratulate the Franklin Fire Department, and not just that, but the teamwork that went into getting this Class 1 rating. It's just amazing how everybody works together. We're always talking about how this is a team. You run a city like this as a team, and that's the best way to do it. And it just shows the great people we have here. I wanted to say that we will have an EDC meeting before the next town council meeting, which will be actually next week. So we won't have a break. And we were going to talk about parking and snow removal. So that should surely bring in a few people. It's so exciting. Right, Brutus? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Want to thank the young man from the high school for his comments and echo that we want to defer that question to the school committee. Congratulations, obviously, to our fire department and to everybody involved in that incredible ISO 1 rating. Want a huge shout out to our Franklin High School cheer for being national champs. That is a huge accomplishment for those young ladies and their coaches. I want to put a plug out for Franklin Youth Football. Registration is now officially open, and for the first time in many, many years, many of the teams are almost full. So that's an exciting turnaround for that program if we look at where it was even just a few years ago. I want to congratulate the Franklin U14 White Hockey Team. They are now the South Shore Conference champions after several playoff games, one in which they had 8 overtimes. And Brandon Scardino and James Brusso in particular, I want to congratulate both of those young men for their incredible play and bringing that championship home. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier Ledger. Councilor Chandler.
Through you, Mr. Chandler. I mean, Mr. Chandler.
We're all making
That's
sips.
okay.
We're all making sips tonight, Brian. Don't
Wishful
worry about
thinking,
it.
I think.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Where's that mental health worker? On a serious note, it was good to see that Arlington Street already got started.
Yeah.
So we brought that up on the slide, but thank you to everyone back there, because that's already, I saw the pipe. Did they already start the roads, Jamie, or? I'm not supposed to ask questions.
Let you get away with it.
All right.
Your chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it working?
Yeah.
You can hear me anyways.
Yeah, you don't need it.
All right. Yeah, we did start that project, and that was one that, the team had got together last year, so we got that bid out early, and, so they actually had the pipe to put in the ground. We got a couple others coming up, the country club, it's gonna be interesting, we're already hearing about, there's no pipe. There's nothing to put in the ground, so it's like, it's really waiting on. So that's when I was shaking my head, it's not so much control of public works administrating, it's trying to get the contractors and materials to the job, which I think everybody's aware of. Yeah, Arlington Street's going great, we're moving right along with that one, and, we got a good price on that one, and we're getting a couple of good prices. We're starting, doing a neighborhood meeting tomorrow over on, McIntosh here, we're redoing that whole street, the road down there, we had a meeting obviously in Arlington the other day, and also on Main Street, so we're getting there.
It's all good news. And you brought up the GIS coordinator, Assistant Danica. She will be missed. She was a Franklin girl. She went to school here.
Yep.
So it's too bad that we lost her. And Councilor Hamlin brought up the word teamwork, and I have to agree with the incredible teamwork, because there's a few councils here that can say it wasn't like that. It wasn't always like that here in Franklin with that kind of teamwork. And it was great to see. Everybody was just so positive tonight. It was really great. It was just great. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Next, Mr. President, Councilor Jones.
It's Chancellor.
Chancellor Jones.
Commissioner.
Not even 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Chump. Mr. Chump. Honestly, all joking aside, we talk a lot about the sports in the town, and Kobe, thank you for the segue into the theater group. But in all honesty, I think one of the things, and I think, Mr. Chairman, I think you can appreciate coming from a theater background within your family and FSPA and so on and so forth, to appreciate really how much hard work was put in by the Franklin High School Theater Group these past months, working on the adaptation of a play called The Cave that was put on as part of a competition at Franklin High School. The original, the semi-regional competition was done a couple of weeks ago, and Franklin was one of 6 to move on. And then the regional competition was this past Saturday night, where they competed up against 6 more schools, and ultimately ended up becoming one of only 14 schools in the whole state of Massachusetts to receive the Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild's award for one of the best theater groups. Unfortunately, they don't have a final because of COVID kind of stuck a wrench into things, but this is a really huge deal for this group. I can't even begin, I think Kobe can back me up on this one, to describe to you how much work and how much effort went into creating an absolutely phenomenal 39-minute and 51-second show. And the reason I say that is because it had to be less than 40 minutes, or else they would have been disqualified.
Wow.
They were 9 seconds short of meeting of that 40-minute qualifications. Between the theatrics, the ensemble, the artwork, the music, the lighting, the acting, and everything else was just an absolutely just phenomenal show. I can't even begin to describe to you what it was like. It's something you have to see for yourself. But I want to give kudos out to everybody who's put so much hard work into making that production a reality. It was such a proud moment to see. I wouldn't be a adulting dad if I didn't say huge congratulations to my son Simon, who played one of the main characters, Don. He was one of the people who went into the cave, did a great job. Mackenzie Atwood and so many other great actors that were in the play. You know, we always talk so much about football and baseball and basketball and everything else, but I just love to give a shout out to the theater group who really, they deserve the accolades. And Mr. Chairman, what I'd like to do, and I know I've mentioned this to you before, is invite them in to offer them some form of a citation for their well-deserved awards that they've taken from the regionals. Only being one of 14 in the state of Massachusetts is a tremendous accomplishment. So, other than that, I think everything else has been said. The fire department, obviously a great job. Jamie, great job. DPW, great job. Our whole staff, great job. Really, it's just my chairman I worry about. But other than that, that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Jones. Councilor DeLorco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you. Well, looks like everything's been said. Sports, theater, we got everything on one, already all said. But on another couple issues, we had a rec meeting the other night, Monday night. We got a lot of good things coming up. You know, lights up on King Street, hopefully, and we had a lot of things coming up, a lot of good things coming up. A good meeting Monday night, which will be coming up into the council future dates, but things are looking good for the rec department. Couple things, Jermaine, congratulations to him. I remember my son was a junior in high school playing basketball, and he came in and he was like in 7th grade, and he stood over everybody, and I was like, wow. Good kid, though. And I have to give my condolences out to a good friend of mine, local town guy, Gene Van Voort, got killed in a tragic car accident over the weekend. A couple weekends ago. Coached his son for years. His daughters hang around. My daughter's a real nice guy. Unfortunately, something must have happened. We'll never know. But to the Van Voort family, I send my condolences to. And that's it.
Thank you, Councilor DeLorco. Just a couple more things to add. Memorial Day celebration, there'll be something coming out.
Through Mr. Chair, yes, I believe the invite was sent to everybody earlier today.
Right, I just
And
want to
then
make
they're-
sure it
they're-
gets on the website and gets on.
Yeah, they are starting it. I believe it's going out yesterday, today, tomorrow, this week.
Okay, because breakfast at the senior center, 9 to 11.
On Friday, the breakfast, and then on Monday will be the parade and
Parade and
ceremony from,
ceremony.
I think, 10:30 to about noon.
Okay,
Okay.
great, thank you. And we'll have more updates and as we move forward with our council meetings. Okay, one other thing, and I think it's something to note. I believe currently we have more restaurant or common victualers licenses than we had pre-pandemic. Am I correct in that assumption?
It's accurate.
So I think that's a great thing. It's great news for our community to go through the entire pandemic, and here we are right now sitting with more restaurants in town with common victualers license than we had before the pandemic. So I think that's a
I think we all need a drink after that pandemic.
The fire department and
Obviously.
what's going on there, I mean, everybody's said it all. It's just a tremendous team, and to Councilor Chandler's point, where we were 5 or 6 years ago to where we are today it's like night and day. And
360.
just to see the number of firefighters that were here this evening to celebrate the award that the community got, I think is just, speaks volumes of the administration and of the fire department's administration. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think to Jamie's point, and I had it here to speak about, because if you look up the ISO, and it says, unfortunately, the ISO does not provide fire safety scores to the public. So it's up to the public to let your insurance company know, because right here in bold print, it says, a lower PPC score for your area may translate to a lower homeowner's insurance premium. So here again, to Jamie's point, and I do believe the chief briefly slid over this, and I think it's an important piece for the community to know that notify your insurance company. You're probably eligible for a premium discount. So, and lastly, I just offer my condolences to the Costello family. A relative, one of their, Dennis Costello, passed away over the past weekend after a long fight with Parkinson's. So,
I didn't know that.
with that, I'd entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved. Second.
Motion is second, non-debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, one and all.
It was a very positive, good meeting. It was good.
Just looking
Nobody
at
got there.
the feasibility of, yeah, the
Okay.
train.
There was no executive session.
I don't think we want to do it. It's basically just gonna